We're going to get every Paragon to degree 100 and see how far they can get. Not just that though, we're going to make the perfect map for them to maximize their damage. We'll start off by building an obnoxiously long track that goes from corner to corner several times. We'll leave some space in the middle for our Paragons to be placed and add some water in the dead center for our Navarch of the Seas. Next, we just have to fill the bottom left side of the map with water so we can boat farm for both pops and money, and then surround the track with a few layers of hedges so our Apex Plasma Master has plenty of walls for his attacks to bounce off of. But this is our beautiful Paragon map. We booted it up, instantly got Geraldo down, and started farming. Because this map is so easy, we didn't need much to defend, so by round 20 we already had a bank and a second farm. It was here though that we got down a Buccaneer that will one day become our Navarch of the Seas. He wasn't really needed, but I wanted to speed up the rounds for my own sake. But then we just farmed away, picking up a lead to gold and eventually transitioning from our bank to a Minneapolis on round 30. This accelerated our farm quite a bit, and before we knew it, we had a trade empire on round 39. Now it was time to spam merchantmen and watch the money come flying in. What's crazy is that this map is so easy that a 230 cannon ship was still plenty of defense for us to beat the rounds. We just had to use Geraldo's camo potion every once in a while to make sure he could pop the camos. That being said, we did upgrade our free dart monkey to a 420 juggernaut on round 42 just to speed up the rounds and get him some pops. This crushed the balloons and let us get our 20th flavored trades buck by round 53. This is great because not only does boat farming get us absurd amounts of cash, but also makes it very easy to max out the Navarch, as each dollar generated by these guys counts as 4 pops. Anyway, by round 74 we had filled the top of the map with farms, the bottom of the map with boats, and in the middle we had a pirate lord and an ultra juggernaut. It was at this point that we spent about 60k to get Geraldo to level 20 so we could start placing down Paragon totems. These will be the limiting factor of how fast we can make our Paragons, so we better start now as we don't want to lose before we get all 7 of them to degree 100. I wasn't sure what Paragon to get first though. All I knew was that the Apex Plasma Master and the Navarch would steal all the pops, making it difficult to make the next Paragon, so we had to think through the others. And then it dawned on me. We should make the Master Builder first because each round increases his attack speed by 10%. This does cap out at 600%, but getting him down early will make him reach this cap before we get to the super difficult rounds. Plus, we'll just place his sentries down near the end of the track, so he won't be stealing any pops unless the balloons make it past the Pirate Lord. On round 130, we placed down our 48th Paragon totem, got down plenty of overclocks, maxed out the Paragon slider, and built our first degree 100 Paragon of the day. I know we wasted some money doing this, but we're already in sandbox territory with how much cash we have, so that will not be an issue for the rest of the game. All we need to do is focus on placing a totem down every round, as that's what'll hold us back. And Twitch chat knows I am terrible at remembering to place these, so hopefully this run's different and I don't forget to place them too often. We replaced our farms and hit play. This Master Builder was amazing as he's easily capable of popping everything, especially once we put his turrets at the very back of the track. But an amazing perk of getting him first was that his main attack was stunning ZOMGs in range of the Ultra Juggernaut and Pirate Lord, letting them get tons of pops in the process. This worked great as we had no issue dealing with the rounds in a timely manner, and the Master Builder was sharing the damage. To take advantage of this, we got down some more tier 5 towers that'll become Paragons in the future. We got a Grand Saboteur that was constantly sabotaging, an Archmage and Permacharge up front, and a Master Bomber and Glaive Lord near the back. This reserved the spots for each Paragon and let them do some damage while we placed down the totems. This went on for about 30 rounds, where we finally had enough totems to build our second Paragon of the day, and we chose to do the Navarch. Normally, this guy is skipped because he insta-kills so many blimps, but we've gotten to a point where the bads are tanky enough that the other towers will still get plenty of pops even if the Navarch pulls in everything else, and the Grand Sabo will constantly be racking up the damage with his ability that hurts blimps when they enter the map. Fast forward to round 195 and we got our next Paragon, this one being the Ascended Shadow, as he was the only one with enough pops to get to degree 100 in such little time. Thank you, Grand Sabo. But this Ascended Shadow now means all of our towers get camo detection, as well as making every balloon spawn with 25% less health and everything but bads move 50% slower. So the late game just got a lot easier. At this point, I'm more focused on beating the rounds quickly and placing totems than I am on getting pops on our future Paragons. This is because it'll be nearly impossible to make our current Paragons not do most of the damage, so we might as well focus on what we can control. That being said, the Apex Plasma Master is up next, and I put all of his tier 5 upgrades up front to make sure they'd be attacking the entire time. Annoyingly, his pop count was what limited us the most. It took 37 totems to make him a degree 100, which we got at the end of round 231. Pretty brutal that it took that long, but there's not much more we could have done. With these 4 paragons down, we should be safe for a while, but will it last long enough to get enough totems down? Hopefully, the final 3 paragons don't take 37 rounds apiece, as we'd be halfway through the 300s by the time we'd get the final one. But now it's time to work on the Magus Perfectus. And this one was fun because we could place 402 arcane spikes on the outside of the bushes, and they could shoot in to get some extra pops. I made sure to perma-brew them and watch them rack up the damage. While they didn't do much compared to the tier 5s, their damage clearly helped as we only needed 31 totems this time to max it out, getting a perfect Magus Perfectus on round 263. And now we only have 2 paragons left to build, the Glaive Dominus and the Goliath Doomship. This whole time I planned on getting the Goliath Doomship last, as aces take up so much space I thought I'd need to sell the farms to get enough of them down, but with our ice monkeys in the bottom left, we have enough space for all 100 upgrades. Additionally, you may have noticed that we've had a perma-brewed flying fortress since round 219, and you guessed it, he's over the 16.2 million pop mark, meaning we only need 20 totems to make him a degree 100. So that's the plan, get a maxed out Goliath Doomship, as that'll give our boomerangs 20 more rounds to rack up some pops. This plan went off without a hitch, and we managed to get a perfect Aegon on round 283. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make this map the exact shape of any of his flight patterns, but I figured that if we optimize the map for every other paragon and set this guy to wing monkey, we'd do better than the other way around. Plus, we'd get to target his airstrike right down the middle of the entire map, which will do insane amounts of damage. Now all that's left is the Glaive Dominus. We've had his tier 5s for many rounds, and it still took 42 totems to max this guy out. It was around 325 that we sold our farms, placed down a ton of turbocharges, and made our final degree 100 paragon of the day. Then we put a super brittle right next to our Navarch and a cripple mob in the bottom right of the track. This way our paragons will do a bit more damage. I thought about getting a glue storm, but there's already so much going on the screen that the constant raining of glue would make my recording even blurrier, so we opted to skip him. Finally, we moved Geraldo to the start of the track and got all 4 of his bunnies, as these are sometimes referred to as the bunny paragon. While I doubt they'll make a difference of even a single round, I couldn't exclude this guy. Additionally, I had TechBot set up on the Ace to constantly bomb, the Navarch to pull in bads, and the Master Builder to constantly replace his sentries, as we want those explosions going off as much as possible. And with this, we hit play and let her run. It was super cool to see the fortified bads getting popped in less than 1 pass, and the second the bad layer broke, we would permastun everything inside with the Master Builder and push them back towards the entrance with the Glaive Dominus. This quick popping didn't last long though, as it only took until round 350 for the fortified bads to make it 2 whole laps around the track. Still under 10% of the way through the track, but these rounds are where the Bloon stats start ramping up really fast. Here, Bloon's health increases by 150% every round, their speed increases by 2% each round, and the stun effects only last half as long. Luckily, these are all linear, as the percent increase is based on round 80, not on the previous round. This starts increasing even more once we get to round 401, as their health now increases by 250% every round. We were still popping anything under bads on the first pass, as we could permanently stall them until popped, but the bads kept getting farther and farther. The furthest one got on round 401 was 3.5 laps, and the crazy thing is that these bads already have 244 times their normal health, meaning the fortified ones on this round had 9.76 million health each. I let this run overnight, as each round was taking forever and we're clearly going to live for quite some time. It took 4 hours and 9 minutes for us to go from round 401 to 501, and here the Bloons are at 496.5 times their normal health, and they get their final scaling boost as they now gain 500% health each round. It was super hard to track how far they got, as there were so many bads on the screen, but I think the farthest a fortified bad made it was 10 laps around. Fast forward 11 constant hours of gameplay, and we finally got to round 601. Here the Bloons have 996.5 times their normal health, and there were so many bads on screen that it was impossible to track how many laps they completed, especially since some would be 3 laps in while new ones were just entering the map. One thing that was easy to track though was that this round alone lasted 8 minutes and 54 seconds. It was cool seeing just how fast the bads were though, as they were moving about 13 times faster than normal. We trucked on for over 2 more hours where we came across around 622. The sheer number of bads was insane and our paragons did their best, but after 6 minutes and 25 seconds of non-stop attacking, a fortified bad finally leaked. Hats off to these paragons as they racked up billions of pops against the bloons they faced this run, and it took a fortified bad that had 1101.5 times its normal health and 13.4 times its normal speed to get through. If you're wondering, this bad had 44,060,000 health, making it tankier than Elite Bloonarius. But the final pop counts on the paragons were crazy. Geraldo and his bunnies had 68 million damage, the NFT hit its cap of being worth $10 million, the Apex Plasma Master did 90 billion damage, the Magus Perfectus had 27 billion, the Super Brittle did 23 million, the Navarch of the Seas dealt 186 billion, the Glaive Dominus finished with almost all 2s at 22.222 billion damage, the Ascended Shadow did 96 billion, the Master Builder did 31.9 billion, the Cripple Mob did 20 million, and the Goliath Doomship did 61 billion damage. No surprise that the Navarch did the most, since it can one-shot bads with its ability and constantly pulls in ZOMGs and below with its passive hooks, but it was wild that it almost doubled the damage of the second place Paragon, which was the Ascended Shadow. But on a near perfect map, these Paragons made it to round 622.